got some stuff I need to get off my chest. They asked me how it was in the war.
What up, soldiers? It is Texas Girl 409, aka the Iraq Veteran Gamer. I know it's been a while since I've done a commentary, so I decided I need to put one up, especially if I want Machinima to hit me up. Welcome to the first installment of Gameplay Fridays. I'm going to try to do a commentary or gameplay video every Friday, and I'm looking for people to do a dual commentary with. If you have Skype, add me. My Skype name is the Iraq Veteran Gamer, and you need Skype recorder. If you have that, or Audacity is a good one, but if you have that, add me and we will do a duel, because I will do a duel with anybody. I will even provide the gameplay if need be. But anyways, today I'm going to talk about my childhood so you can get to know me better. Well, it all began May 3rd, 1987. I was just a little Texas girl 409. I didn't even have capital letters in my name yet. Nah, it all started May 3rd, 1987. My birth giver went into labor when we lived in a town called Beaumont, Texas, which is an hour and 15 minutes east of Houston. But I was actually born in Galveston, Texas, since they flew us there because they had a better facility, I guess. My dad was currently in the Air Force, and he was stationed in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is very ironic because that's where I was stationed when I was in the Army. We didn't live up there for too long. My parents ended up getting a divorce. My dad was out of the Air Force, so we moved in with my grandparents in Crosby, Texas, which is about 30 minutes away from Houston. Because of my dad's job, and he was on call all the time, my grandparents raised me all the way up until 5th grade. We moved to a town called Liberty, Texas, when I was like 1st grade, I think it was. And we lived out in bumfuck Egypt. Like, I lived so far out away from the city, like our road didn't even have a name. It was called RT-138 or some shit like that, and that means for a route. Well, since we stayed like 20 minutes from town, I really didn't have many kids to play with, so I pretty much played a lot of video games. I remember having a regular Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, a Sega 32X, which was an add-on for the Sega Genesis, and I remember getting a Nintendo 64 when it first came out. So I was raised by my grandparents all the way until 5th grade. My grandparents were just getting too old to keep raising me, and I was kind of a bad kid. My grandma spoiled the hell out of me. Remember, she would just let me eat whatever I wanted, let me do anything I wanted pretty much. I would always be getting swats like every other day in elementary for not doing my work or being like the class clown and stuff. And I remember I'd be in trouble in school all the time, and my grandma would never tell my grandpa because she knew my grandpa would fucking beat my ass. Not literally beat me, but you know, he'd yell at me, and he'd go break out the belt and go tell me to pick my own switch. And Lord have mercy, if you came back with too big of a switch, oh, you had hell to pay. You know, you had to make sure you picked that skinny one, that one that wrapped around your leg. And what the fuck was I thinking running outside after I call in my mortars? You run for cover. You don't fucking run outside when there's a fucking mortar attack. Well, my grandma and grandpa were just getting too old to keep raising me since I was a little badass. So I went and moved in with my dad in the 5th grade. And it was a pretty awkward experience going to a new school, actually having friends. The 5th grade was the first time I really stayed the night with somebody. I think staying the night at my friend's house wasn't always a good thing. I remember one night I went to the skating rink and my friend wanted me to stay the night, but I couldn't get a hold of my dad. So I went and stayed the night with him anyways, thinking I was like, oh, my dad ain't gonna care. And me and him ended up sneaking out of his dad's house and roaming the roads all night, all the way until like 3 o'clock in the morning. We were throwing rocks at cars, doing all kinds of crazy shit. We were by this one little small business where you can turn in metal and get money for it. And we were in the bush and he threw a rock at a car, and as soon as he threw it we realized it was a cop car, and we're like, oh fuck. So we took off running, and they had little refrigerators out in the yard, and we were gonna go hide in there. Well, they didn't have a gate there, they had this wire stretched across, and I fucking ran straight into that, like neck first. Like my neck hit it, and it slingshotted me back. I had like a mark on my neck for like a week, but we hid in the refrigerator, and the cop luckily didn't turn around and look for us. But my dad the next day ended up finding out what we did because we threw a rock at my neighbor's car, and she saw us and she told, I don't know how she really knew it was us. I denied it to the end. I was like, we didn't throw no damn rocks. It wasn't me, Daddy, I swear. But it really was. You're probably wondering where my birth giver is throughout all this. And you're probably wondering why I call my mom my birth giver. Well, it's because my birth giver was never a mom. She was never around. I remember times waiting for her to come pick me up during the summer or for Christmas break, and she would never show up. And that caused me not to go spend time with my brother, because my brother lived with her, because we had different dads. Well, I'll talk a little bit more about her and my brother in a minute. Well, in about 7th grade, I started getting into drugs, popping pills, smoking weed, and stuff like that. I actually smoked weed for the first time in 5th grade with my brother. But since I started getting into drugs and all that, my dad remarried in like the middle of 7th grade, I think it was. And my stepmom and my dad knew I was doing drugs, so my dad ended up kicking me out and I had to go live with my birth giver. I was a little hurt that my dad was kicking me out, but at the same time I was a little excited because I had so much freedom at my birth giver's. She didn't care what we did, and she was never really around anyways to even care. She was always at her boyfriend's house. So I went there, got into drugs real bad, got to hang out with my brother. My brother's like 4 years older than me, so I felt really cool as the young kid hanging out with people 4 or 5 years older than me. I remember one time in the 9th grade, my mom tried to turn me over to this place called Boys Haven. It's pretty much for kids who are troubled or are in trouble or really don't have a place to go. And I was really hurt. I was really pissed because I didn't want to go to this place. You know, I didn't want to lose all my freedom I had, but maybe it would have benefited me. I don't know. But after my freshman year, which is my 9th grade year, I had to make one of the hardest decisions of my life. I went to my dad's to try to get school money for clothes and supplies because my mom couldn't even put food on the table, let alone buy clothes and school supplies. So my dad asked me if I wanted to move back in. Being 13, 14 years old, that is a hard decision when you're thinking about giving up all the freedom you have to going back to a kind of strict household. But I made the decision to move back in, and it was probably one of the best decisions of my life because I knew if I stayed with my mom, I would not graduate. And I ended up graduating. You know, I got my Gangsta Education for Dummies, my GED, but I still graduated and I still did things with my life, and I'm still going to do things with my life. Well, that's my childhood summed up into 8 minutes. There's so much more to it than just that. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment below. If you want to hear more commentaries about my life, leave a like and leave a comment below. I want to do a Q&A commentary. So leave a comment below of anything you want to ask me, anything, and I'll make sure within the next 2 weeks, maybe next week if I get enough questions, I'll do a Q&A commentary. And like I said, I want to start doing dual commentaries. So if you want to do a duel with me, add my Skype. It is the Iraq Veteran Gamer. There is no spaces in it. And like my Facebook page and follow me on Twitter. All the links will be in the description. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this, because I really enjoyed talking about this. I ended this game 54-9 with 3 captures and 6 defends. Anyways, Texas Grown 409, aka the Iraq Veteran Gamer, is out. Peace, bitches. Peace, bitches. Peace, bitches.